She tells him, ooh, love, no one's ever gonna hurt you, love. I'm gonna give you all of my love. Nobody matters like you.
Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my opinion on the extension of Dak Prescott. Now, without further ado, let's get started. It is official. Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, has re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys. He signed a 4-year deal worth $160 million, 126 of that being fully guaranteed. Now, I'm going to just say this. This was a great move by Dallas, but was it worth it? Maybe. But let's go through the history of Dak Prescott with the Dallas Cowboys, and we see if it was worth it keeping Prescott, or was it a bad decision by the Dallas Cowboys. Now, in 2016, Dak Prescott, this was his rookie year. He came in for an injured Tony Romo, and he played all 16 games, going 13-3 and making the playoffs, losing to the Packers in the divisional round. Then you get to his stats. 459 passes, 311 being completed, 3,667 yards, 23 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Now, honestly, that was good for a rookie quarterback. Now let's see what team he had around him. The run game, second best in the NFL. Very good. And now the receiving game, 23rd best. That's pretty bad for Prescott. But honestly, it really doesn't matter as long as you have a good offensive line, which they had a decent one at the time, the 14th best offensive line in the league, and the 5th best defense, winning their division that year. And this was actually the best season for Dallas with Dak Prescott, as this was his only season with a 13-3 record with the Dallas Cowboys. In 2017, Dak Prescott played all 16 games, going 9-7 with his team, passing 498 times, having 308 completions, 3,324 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Now, what's the difference between this year and Dak's former year, his rookie year? His amount of completions went down, his amount of attempts went up, his yardage went down, his touchdowns went down, and he had more interceptions this year. Now, honestly, maybe a sophomore slump. Honestly. But let's look at the team he had around him that year. A second best run game again. They were ranked 26th in receiving. Now, that is troubling because last time they were ranked 23rd. And the offensive line returns as the number 14th offensive line in the league. And the defense dropped to 13th. Now, that has been trouble for the Cowboys throughout the entirety of Dak Prescott's career. But let's get on to 2018. Now in 2018, Dak Prescott played all 16 games again, this time going 10-6, improved from the previous year. He had 526 passes, 356 completions, 3,885 yards, 22 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. This year was a better year for the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, as Dak Prescott had more passes that he attempted, more passes completed from his rookie year, had more yards than his rookie year, had the same amount of touchdowns as last season, and had at least dropped the interceptions all the way down to 8. Now, honestly, I think Dak Prescott this year did decent as well, but is it elite? I don't think so. Right now, I don't see anything elite. If Russell Wilson isn't considered elite, then Dak Prescott is not considered elite. Because, honestly, that guy has done a lot for the Seahawks and still hasn't won an MVP. And this guy is leading a team that basically has the best offense in the NFL at the time. But this year in 2018, it was a lot different, as they had the 10th best run game, the 23rd best receiving game, the 26th best offensive line, and the 6th best defense. Now, honestly, this year, their O-line was not as good as other years. But I'm going to say this. The previous years, he had done either decent or at least decent enough, or better yet, good, due to one being his rookie year. But to be honest, seeing these kind of stats, I'm going to say, yeah, he's a decent quarterback. He's a quarterback that you can put in and you can keep in that position until you say, okay, we're giving up on this guy, we're going to get another guy. But I think Dak Prescott could fit in Dallas. But after all this, let's see what happens in 2019. Now, in 2019, he also played all 16 games. The team won 8-8. If I'm not mistaken, that year, the Eagles had actually beaten them out for the division title. And this is Dak Prescott's stats that year. 596 passes, 388 completed, 4,902 yards, 30 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Now, honestly, this has been the best year for Dak Prescott in his entire career. Now, he had more passes attempted this time than last year in 2018, but he also had more passes completed as well. This is the year he had the most passes and the most passes completed in his entire career with the Cowboys. And this is also the year he has the most passing yards his entire career with the Dallas Cowboys and the most touchdowns as well. But the second most interceptions in his entire career as a Cowboy. Now, let's see what team he had around him this year. He had the 5th best run game, the 2nd best receiving game, the 2nd best offensive line, and the 11th best defense. And they didn't make the playoffs. So, honestly, I'm just saying this. Dallas needs to improve. Dallas needed to improve because they were making too many mistakes. Even though they had the 2nd best O-line receiving game, the 5th best run game, and the 11th best defense, it didn't matter. It didn't reach the goal. And it's because they made mistakes. And everyone makes mistakes. Even teams that are good make mistakes. And that's what happened to Dallas that year. But let's get on to last season in 2020. Now, in 2020, the first year of Dak Prescott's career where he did not play the entire season. He had played 5 games, his 5th game being the game that he actually broke his leg against the New York Giants and had to leave the game and did not come back for the rest of the year. He went 2-3 in those 5 games. Honestly, Dallas was horrendous this year. But then we get on to his stats. 222 attempts, 151 completions, 1,856 yards passing, 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. By the way, at the time of his broken leg, he had the most passing yards of any quarterback at the time. Of course, he couldn't win the most yards at all because, of course, he wasn't that ahead of everyone. But he was number 1 when it came to receiving yards. And honestly, due to injury, I think this is definitely going to limit him coming into the future. But let's see what team he had around him in 2020. He had the 17th best run game, the 8th best receiving game, the 20th best offensive line, and the 28th best defense. This year, the Cowboys definitely need to improve the secondary. They definitely need to improve that defense. They need to improve that offensive line. And that run game, well, you keep giving it to Ezekiel Elliott. But if Ezekiel Elliott cannot continue to be the running back he's supposed to be, you're pretty soon going to have to replace him. You got some very good wide receivers. You got Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. You got CeeDee Lamb. All these guys are very good. Honestly, very good gems. But this year was the year he had actually been on the franchise tag. And due to the fact that he was on the franchise tag, he only had 1 year on his contract due to his franchise tag. But he didn't get to play the entire year. Now, the question at the time was, what were the Dallas Cowboys going to do with Dak Prescott? Were they going to let him go? Were they going to sign him? What they were going to do? Instead, we found out what happened this season. Now, it is official. Dak Prescott will be the franchise quarterback of the Cowboys for the next 4 years. But was it worth it? That is the question I asked earlier. Was it worth it? And I think maybe. That's the answer I'm going to give. A maybe. Why? Because Dak Prescott has shown that he can do it. He can be the best quarterback that he can. But that it's not enough at times to win the division, win the playoff games. Dallas has not won a playoff game in a long time. And if Dak can't do it, they might as well just get rid of him. Because honestly, They have a good run game. They got a good receiving game. They got to improve the O-line and the defense. But honestly, I think that the Dak Prescott signing was not a mistake, but it's mostly going to be skeptical, saying that someone will pay for giving Dak Prescott that deal in a harsh way, being Jerry Jones, who's the de facto general manager, or that this guy's just going to lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl, which with their current core, I don't think they have a chance at doing, due to the fact that I actually don't believe in the Cowboys winning a Super Bowl in these 4 seasons. They have to improve heavily in order to do so. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Tweet me any video ideas. Also, tell me down in the comments below, what do you think about Dallas signing Dak Prescott to a 4-year contract? Tell me if you are a Cowboys fan, and tell me how you feel about this. Do you think he's your savior? Do you think he's not your savior? Do you think he's going to make a Super Bowl championship out of this team? Or do you think he's not going to? Tell me down in the comments below. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and hit the notification if you want more videos. And I'll see you guys next time.